All right, welcome to the Action Martial Arts Power Hour. This is a show where we talk about anything and everything martial arts related. This is developing into a nice variety show, and this is brought to you by none other than the man himself, Alan Goldberg. Alan, how you doing?
How you doing, guys? Welcome to the Power Hour. And I just want to say sponsored by Lou and Vero Hive, and we just thank you for the access to use this wonderful program. Those of you that have not signed up yet for Vero Hive, you got to do it. There's a lot of great things coming down the pike, so please do. Anyway, well, we got some, old guests and new guests on tonight. We're waiting right now for Harry Mok. He's coming on. But we do have a new guest, David Fury. And David should be on with us. Yeah, here he goes. He's ready to come on. We have Grandmaster Warren and Joe Rebelo, Wikipedia. So we have some nice people, and we're going to have more and more people on it. Once we get a couple other things set up, we're going to have maybe 12 people on at one time. But we're working on that right now. So at this point, I'd like to bring David on, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Black Dragons and some features, some movies we're doing, some other things. So can we bring on Professor David Fury?
I'm going to bring on David Fury. David, the floor is yours.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Thank you for having me on. Good evening to everyone. Good evening.
So why don't you make a quick intro of yourself? I'm going to give you the big screen. You're going to just talk to the audience, let them know who you are, what you're doing, and talk about the project that you have going on with Alan.
Oh, we got a few okay. Black Dragons, I got it. Let me know when to go. Oh, okay. I'm not good at this, professional telecasting. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I'm Soke Professor David Fury. I am the founder of Fury Combat Systems, International Kogo Rukai, Black Dragons, Fury Combat, Mixed Martial Arts. Today, I'm very happy to be joining you guys. I'm also right now helping to lead back with Alan the Black Dragon World Legion, which will be also part of the Black Dragon Society. And I'm very proud to be able to reconstruct or reestablish this organization of excellence in martial arts. Outside of doing what I love to do is promote martial arts and teach and train and have fun with you guys. Alan is a very dear friend of mine. So the rest of the guys that are here, the gentlemen and masters, and I definitely enjoy being with the family, martial arts family, and that's basically it. I'm joining you guys today to promote and explain a little bit about the Black Dragons. I don't know how much time I got on the floor.
Well, you have, Dave, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, and you have as much time as you need. I just want to interrupt you really quick. I want to bring Alan on so he can, lead with the topic. So, Alan, I'm bringing you back on. You're on.
Okay,
Alan.
Here we go. How you doing, guys? All right, well,
just lead everyone on the topic.
Dave,
know what to do.
Dave's a little shy right now, but we're gonna get him out of that. So he's not. Well, let me just explain something about the Black Dragons. Many people have heard that name before and heard what's going on and heard the organization. The original organization was the Cantante. What has happened over the years, there was one original organization which was legit, and then there was another one that was put together by the Day family, and Dr. Miskell, Reverend Miskell, was heading it up, and it was a good organization, but the real problem with that was it was not the original Black Dragon, and it really didn't have the authorization to do that, which many people found out as time went on. We've had people in there such as Frank Dukes and Ashita Kim and so on and so forth, which were not real Black Dragons, and the organization kind of fell apart, and we were in it, with quite a few other people, probably another 30, 40 people, that wound up leaving and pulling away from the Black Dragons for that reason. Even Dr. Misko pulled away because his health went down, but he really didn't want to be part of something that was not what he wanted, his vision from day one. So we have gotten together and we put this organization together really to pick up the stragglers from the old Black Dragons. And we are telling people we are involved with the real group of Black Dragons. We are involved with some of the real people that were involved. And Mr. Aguilera, he's inheritor from the Black Dragons from his father and Cantante. But we are a subdivision. And just because we have a little more contact, we know a lot more people. And, you know, my name carries a little weight possibly that I know people. And people coming along to try to be part of what I do. I don't usually do organizations. And when David came through with this, I told him, well, listen, I'll help you. I said, for me, listen, I'm getting on also an age and I don't need to start doing things. But, you know, to help a friend, I definitely try to help a friend. So I'd like to bring on our buddy Wikipedia Joe from that, just a little background, because I don't know much about the Black Dragons in the depth, but I got the guy that probably does, because he comes from the area.
Yeah, I think we could bring on. He may have some insight with that. I don't know. But we're going to bring on Wikipedia Joe Rebelo. Hey, hang on, David. We can only bring on one at a time to highlight them. So, Joe, you're on board. So talk about the Black Dragons. The stage is yours.
Sure. Good evening, gentlemen. Again, this is Joe Rebelo, Kenpo Joe, of course known on the Alan Goldberg Power Hour as Wikipedia Joe. The Black Dragon Fighting Society was founded by John Keehan, who later renamed himself Count Juan Rafael Dante. What many people don't know is I am a member of the Black Dragon Fighting Society by Bill Aguiar, the inheritor of the system, the father. I first met Count Dante at the Taunton death matches that were held in Taunton, Massachusetts in the early 1970s. I was a student in United Studios at that time. Many years later, I would meet with Bill Aguiar at his studio in Fall River. And, you know, contrary to what other organizations that claim to be Black Dragon Fighting Societies, Bill Aguiar was always known in the martial arts community as the inheritor of Count Dante's system. He was featured in Official Karate Magazine, Official Karate's Defense Combat Magazine, and, of course, the famous 3-part article in Black Belt Magazine written by Masab Ayub. Count Dante originally studied with Robert Trias, and at the time was the youngest 5th-degree black belt in the United States Karate Association, running various martial arts tournaments in Chicago. After he and Robert Trias had a parting of the ways, he then went and trained in Kenpo Karate with Ed Parker. He trained in afternoon classes along with John McSweeney, who many people consider the father of Irish karate. The Dante system of fighting combines numerous systems such as Kaiju Kempo, Hawaiian Kempo, Ed Parker's American Kempo, the Tracy Kempo system, also traditional Judo and Jiu-Jitsu. The most famous text by Count Dante was The World's Deadliest Fighting Secrets, which I knew if you had mentioned that. Matter of fact, I'll step away for a moment and I'll actually pull an original copy of the book that I actually was just going through. Again, many of the techniques taught, the quote-unquote iron fist and poison hand strikes, were basically the repertoire that people would know from numerous kung fu systems. Again, everything from like the 5 animal style Shaolin Kung Fu and Wing Chun that Sifu Goldberg does, to the American Kempo and various Kempo systems I do as well. Mr. Aguiar was always known for the person who had inherited that. And also, I should mention the World Karate Federation, not the Japanese group, but the original organization that Count Dante had put together in the United States. Been very privileged to be familiar with Mr. Aguiar. Again, I mentioned about his group to Sifu Goldberg, and he was kind enough to bring them in for the event at the Action Martial Arts event. So that's just scratching the surface of the legacy of Count Juan Rafael Dante and the Black Dragon Fighting Society.
And this is
Well, let's bring
this is why we have Wikipedia Joe Rebelo here, because he's a fountain of information. So I'm going to bring on Alan again, and Alan, you wanted to bring on Dave.
Yep.
You wanted to bring him on to touch on the Black Dragons, or?
Yes, I do. How you doing? You hear me? Okay.
All right. Well,
We talk about the Black Dragon. There is a lot of confusion.
Dave, we're gonna bring you on. We're gonna talk about this with you. I'm gonna put you on, talk about the Black Dragons, and touch on some stuff that Joe was talking about, because I think you have a lot more insight.
Yep. Let me know when to go.
No, the floor is yours, Dave. The floor is yours. So,
Is it I'm supposed to have to talk?
Dave, talk about what Joe was talking about.
Okay, I got the floor.
You got the floor.
Okay. Okay. So we're touching back on to the history of Black Dragon Fighting Society. All this became very popular in the 90s because of the movie Bloodsport. Many people didn't know about the Black Dragons until then, really. But internationally, there is a lot of sects around the world as well that call themselves the Black Dragon Legion or the Black Dragon Society, which goes back to not only China but Japan and even before that. But today we call ourselves the Kokurukai, which is Black Dragon. And because what had happened with I'm talking about with Ashita Kim and Frank Dukes and everything that I was a part of before, has been dismantled because there were issues with truthfulness and a lot of other issues which I don't want to go too deep into at the moment. It's very personal, but it was dismantled, and because of historical respects and historical disciplines and honor, we decided to go into two separate groups, but we're still together. In other words, Bill Aguiar and I are very good friends, and we will be working together, but separately, because again, there's a lot of people that were involved in BDFS, which was Frank Dukes' organization, and Sheeta Kim's organization of what it was. It was what it was. It wasn't a legitimate organization, and I felt terrible, and I still do, for the people that were a part of all that.
Dave, if I can, I want to bring in Alan to touch on that, about the Black Dragon, Frank Dukes, and all that stuff. Alan, maybe you want to touch on that a little bit? You with us, Alan? Okay, we're gonna stick with. Let me bring Joe. Do you want to touch on that real quick?
Again, I was talking earlier about the original book, and here we have the original Black book written. I'm trying to square myself up. This is the original copy of The World's Deadliest Fighting Secrets. Now, this book, a lot of people say, well, it was put out in comic books. I said, yeah, it was it was popular with kids and whatnot, but there's a lot of viable knowledge in this. Now, to give you an idea, Count Dante was paying Marvel, and I think it was Marvel Comics and DC Comics, $10,000 a month in advertising. So you can imagine the kind of money he was making selling this book. Now, several years later, Bill Aguiar would make his own copy of the book, and he would add on 33 pages of philosophy from Count Dante. And like I said, I mean, I've had other people, talk about the BDFS, claiming to be inheritors of the system and whatnot. And then when you really talk to them, they're like, well, I was drunk a lot of time. I think I only worked out with them like a whopping 2 months. Or I met him like maybe twice. And these guys are claiming to be the inheritors of the system. While Bill Aguiar was bringing in Dante on a regular basis, when you look, and the funny thing I find is when people take these pictures from Black Belt magazine and they put it in their books and magazines and they go, hey, where were those pictures taken? Do you know? And some people go, oh, it was Chicago. I go, no, it wasn't. It was Bill Aguiar's school in Fall River, Massachusetts. Again, I got to know Mr. Aguiar after Cantante's death. And, I recorded him for my TV show. I helped him out doing some telemarketing. Matter of fact, the funny thing is that Ashita Kim, many years ago, back when AOL was popular, had contacted him. And he had asked me, Bill Aguiar had asked me to write him because the guy was making illegal copies of the World's Deadliest Fighting Secrets because he had owned the copyright in the United States. So I contacted Mr. Kim and he got back to me and he was going on, oh, it's a $10,000 to fight me. And I'm going, and I write him back, look, I don't want to fight you. All I'm saying is that the actual owner of that document, of that book, is trying to contact you. Oh, by the way, since you're making copies page by page, hey, why don't you call that phone number on the inside back of the book? It's been in service for 26 years and still works. Why don't you give Bill Aguiar a call and talk to him yourself?
But what I want to do, Joe.
Well, lo and behold, I walked in one day.
I want to bring on. I want to bring on Dennis because he's been waiting patiently. Dennis, maybe you want to touch on what's going on. Let me bring you on, Dennis. Maybe you want to touch on what Joe and Dave have been speaking about and expand on that.
First of all, I would like to thank Sifu Alan Goldberg, the godfather of martial arts. David Fury, my buddy. Good afternoon. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. And to everyone out there, I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving and stay safe for the future holidays. Yes, I met Bill Aguilar at the Academy Awards at the Hall of Honors at Sifu Alan Goldberg's event, the largest event in the world. And I go after people like Ashita Kim, Frank Dukes, Brody Sanders, and others that give us a bad reputation because we have worked years. We've worked hard. These phonies get in there and they take these people's money. They're nothing but con men. And yes, I met Bill Aguilar and he explained to me his inheritance as the rightful leader of the Black Dragon. And yes, David Fury and Bill Aguilar, these are the real deal because Alan does not play that. He doesn't play that. He doesn't. If you're running this phony thing and trying to shroud yourself under another organization, we'll find out. We'll find you and we'll shut you down. And we've been doing a pretty good job of that. But yes, you've got these guys like Ashita Kim, Frank Dukes. As a matter of fact, we offered Frank Dukes a certain amount of money to prove about himself, about these tournaments that he claimed that he entered. We found out there was no such tournaments. And all of this stuff he got from the movies. Now, he might have been a great screenwriter, but as far as the claims that he made about himself, they're all false, untrue.
Right,
so, you have guys like him.
Dave, I'm sure that you have something to say about that as well. Some input, Dave.
You know, when I came on and became a part of Frank Dukes' organization, because that's how I met Frank Dukes, because this whole hype about that was going on for about 30 plus years. Because really not too many people knew Bill Aguilar III, okay, or the lineage of Count Dante. That was including me because of everything that was overshadowed or overwhelmed because of, again, the movie Bloodsport and and the hype behind all that certain people decided to write out. But because I am in contact with Japan and China and other countries, because again, I served outside the United States, in Israel, okay, and I've been all over the world as a private security factor, and I got to see and know a lot of people and compete. And when things were asked of me to make contact with the Black Dragons here, when I found out, and before I even found out, I was a big part of the organization. I was an assistant director, and I have all the documents to show it. Because of titles and all that. Alan's seen it too. And when we found out that everything was based on a hoax, outside of everything that was going on for, you're talking about 20 plus years, that's, that's no good. So thank you, Alan Goldberg. Thank you for other people that we're not going to name. But again, the Black Dragons, as far as David Fury knows, Professor Fury knows, is it's martial arts excellence. My ideals are to promote competitions and events and martial artists, and also top combative sports stars, because again, this falls under warcraft and warfare and martial arts, and to promote, and to show excellence in the martial arts world the way that I believe that it's supposed to be, that it is, not only in America but around the world. And you're going not only Asia, you're going, Africa and so on and so on, all around the world, Midwest, and so on.
Dave,
So
I
just to
wanna
keep
bring
it
on,
simple,
yeah, I just want to bring on Alan because he's chomping at the bit to kind of chime in with what you're saying. Alan,
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, something that is very important that people realize. We had done some investigation on our end about the Black Dragon and whatever else. And again, there's some wonderful people involved and some of the old military people and everything else. But there are some truths that people don't know. We even had a chance. Do you hear me? Yeah, but we found out that these stories and these movies and stuff like that, there is no reality to it. We even put up $50,000 to find out reality on it, and there was no real basis to. There's no basis to it. So the truth is that the Black Dragons are a good organization, and we wanted to help them along and do the right thing, and we got involved, and then we realized that there was a lot of it was just a farce. So we kind of went on our way. But I like to we bring Joe on. Does he have the book and the other anything else?
yeah, Joe came on. He went over the book. He showed us because we
Yeah, I had a little break.
But
I had a little break.
Joe, why don't you show Alan that book again? Let me bring you on. Show him that book. Lift the book up, Joe.
Hi, folks. So let's show you the book. So this was published in the late 1960s, early 70s, and it was sold through DC and Marvel Comics, and it was one of their most popular ads. And then later on, in the 1980s, Bill Aguiar republished the book and added 33 pages onto the book. And then apparently Ashita Kim thought that, well, Count Dante's dead. I can make as many copies as I want. And he started to make illegal copies of the book. And I was asked by Mr. Aguiar to contact Ashita Kim. And he got back to me and he put out a challenge. I said, I don't want to challenge. I'm just telling you, contact the guy. And then I walked in one day and Bill Aguiar went, hey, guess who called me today? I said, I don't know.
Challenge you. Nobody wants to challenge you. You can talk him to death. Let me. Oh,
oh yeah. Well,
let me.
No, hold on. Well,
back on. Let me bring.
Bill Aguiar sat there and tells me, Ashita Kim had called him and actually contacted him.
Let me bring Alan back on. Alan, go. Yeah, you
Yeah.
saw the book and everything. I had to go bust Joe's chops, but yeah, I'm going to put you on. You're solo now.
Okay. The real funny thing about it, Yoshida Kim, he's more of a writer. We don't know much about his martial art career. Of course, people can make things up over the years. And, it's great. You write a book, and sometimes people just follow the book and don't know. So Yoshida Kim has done that before. He's printed things that were not his to print. And that's another reason why the Black Dragons have basically fallen apart. Um, I liked the guy when I first met him, but sometimes you got to pull the wool away to see where you are. And we were a little disappointed with that. Let's put Dave back up again. I want to talk to Dave about the basis of what we're doing with also the movies and the other things, so people know a little more of, watch out for what we are doing, because also Dennis involved and everyone's involved. Matter of fact, I gotta be honest with you, with everybody. Whenever we do something, or I do something especially, I like to pull people in. I like to give people a chance, because no man is an island. And if we're able to work together and do the right thing, my buddy up there is bound to it. He knows what I'm talking about. We need to help each other. That's probably we call this the power hour. We also should really call it give a hand hour to everybody, because everyone needs it. I mean, I got a lot of guests lined up. I mean, Harry had a hard time tonight with his computer. He was using his phone. He had a bad thing with his connection. But we'll get him on all another time. But we have a lot of other people that are supposed to be coming on.
We'll get them on. Sometimes with, the Wi-Fi connection's a little spotty. Anywhere you go, you're gonna have a problem.
He thought his Wi-Fi was the problem. That's what he told me. But we're gonna get him back on again. And listen, we got great people. We got great people involved. Listen, not everyone likes each other. Some people don't like me. Some people love me. Whatever. It's okay.
Everybody loves Alan. Are you kidding me? Everybody loves Alan.
No, not really. But anyway.
Those are the people that aren't on this show. So
you just haven't met them yet. That's the difference. But usually I'm a guy I never make claims. I don't tell people I'm Superman. I can do that. But I can pick the phone up and call almost anyone in this industry up, and because they're my friends. Guys that are not my friends, because I ignore most of those guys, because they are knuckleheads, most of them. But there are a lot of great guys out there. So let's keep up. But let me pull David back on here again. Oh, there we go, Harry. There he is.
There he is.
I just saw him.
You want to bring Harry on?
Let's bring Harry on now, because Harry's been waiting to get on here.
Harry, the floor is yours. The floor is yours. Oh, all right. Hang on, Harry. I got to bring it out.
Okay. All right. I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine. We got very friendly over the last couple of years. Harry Mok is probably, right now he's going to make me a liar. I say he's always smiling, and he's not smiling right now. But Harry Mok's always got a smile on his face. One of the nicest guys you're going to meet. Just because he's from California, we still like him anyway. But actually, you're in New York a lot now, too, so that's true, too. Yeah. But Harry's a great guy, efficient martial artist, done a lot of movies. You might remember him. If you look closer, you might see the hole in his head. That was from the Rambo movie. He was in Rambo 2, where he got shot in the head with an arrow. But Harry's a great guy, and I just want to bring him on. And Harry, just tell us a little bit about your career, where you're going, what you're doing, what you've done before, because now you're talking to the East Coast, a lot of people. At my event, you did wind up meeting a lot of new people over the last couple of years you came, but that's what it's all about. We got to put everyone together and make everyone friends. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Harry, and give us a little background on yourself.
All right, Harry, you're on, and just the floor is all yours. So you're going to be all by yourself now.
All right, let me. Oh, so can you guys hear me? Okay. Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the invitation, having me. I apologize for, my goodness, I was doing everything that I possibly could, and finally I had to reboot this thing again because it had a small little icon at the top of Chrome saying that I didn't have my video camera and the sound on, so I ended up rebooting that, and it worked. So finally I'm on, guys. Thank you very much. It's great to see you guys. All you guys are like Absolutely incredible. Consider you all my friends, my brothers. Um, just to give a little bit of background on myself, I started my martial arts training when I was about 8 years old. I'm 62 now. I started traditional lion dancing, and as a kid, because my parents were chrysanthemum flower growers, and they had an association in Northern California in the South Bay. All the Chinese grew flowers, chrysanthemums. Okay, that's what they did, and shipped them all over the world, all over the country. And they had an organization, whereas they needed to teach the young kids how to do lion dancing and martial arts for Chinese New Year's. Every Chinese New Year's they'll do the celebration, and they taught us to do the performances and everything. And so I started when I was about 8 years old, and then as I started growing in the arts, I realized that I wanted to take more other types of art. So I studied Choi Lei Fut with back then called Jimmy Wong, who has now changed his name to Doc Fai Wong. And then at the same time, I was learning from Wing Lam, and also at the same time, I was training over at Gaylord's Kaji Kempo, and I was doing this all at the same time, which back then was like a really big no-no. But the thing was that when I was training in Choi Lei Fut and Siu Lim, I wanted to really, I was interested in the fighting and competitive aspect. And during that time, Kung Fu, we were just learning a lot of forms and weapons. And I mean, I think I learned like about 40 something forms, and I really wanted to get into the fighting aspect. And that's when I started training in Kaji Kempo early on. That was in the early 70s. And then I started. I did competing, but Kaji Kempo then didn't have form. Their forms were like, the opinions were like, they just weren't good. I know Al DeCosco adopted, I think, Siu Lim 6 or 5 or 6 in the Kaji Kempo system, and he learned from Wong Jackman, and that to this day just completely got switched around. I mean, you can see some of it in there. I do Siu Lim 5, and when we look at the Kaju guys doing it, it's like, oh my God, what did they do to this? They chopped it up to pieces. But anyhow, and I moved on, and I got into the film industry when I first saw my first Bruce Lee movie. I said, oh God, I want to be like Bruce Lee. But then again, who didn't want to be like Bruce Lee back in those days, right? And as most of you already know, I trained really hard to replicate his physique. And when I got to that point of replicating it, I was so into training that I ended up surpassing it. And just it's for trying to be me, not just trying to be like Bruce Lee, but wanting to be me. So I surpassed that, and then started doing a lot of other stuff. Got into stunt work, and which opened up the doors to some of the martial art films that I did, which I'm sure you know. And I remember, some of you guys saw my spinning swords that I invented, and I used in Talons of the Eagle and TC 2000, The Vineyard, and what else? I think one other film I used it in as well. So that was a big part of my career. I ended up getting into, not by choice, but I ended up. By the way, I'm now an award-winning producer, award-winning writer, award-winning director, award-winning producer, award-winning actor. I achieved all that, and I didn't achieve that by choice. My objective was to continue being an actor, but what happened was right after I worked on Rambo 2, I went and I think a year or two later, I had gotten a call to audition for Karate Kid 2, and I went out and I went and drove to LA from Northern California, went on to Warner Brothers lot, and went into Jerry Weintraub's office and auditioned auditioned, and I was auditioning opposite of Dustin Nguyen, who was the original Asian guy in the 21 Jump Street series. And I thought, oh, that's Dustin Nguyen. I'm not going to get this. I'm like, geez, he has a name, and I was just up and coming. And so as we auditioned, I actually got the part. They introduced me to Jerry Weintraub. He said, welcome aboard, be packed and ready to go to Hawaii tomorrow. And I'm like, oh man, I didn't even bring anything with me. And they said, don't worry about it. You can buy whatever you need while you're there. And I'm like, yay. So as I'm walking out the door, I see a couple guys walking towards me, and lo and behold, it was the one guy was Pat Johnson, who was the coordinator for the Karate Kid series. And then a name that I will bring up, but if we could just keep this amongst ourselves, right, is Jeff Imada, who was a student of Dan Inosanto. And I think you guys know who Jeff Imada is. Well, Jeff, I actually consider Jeff a friend of mine. And the last time I saw Jeff, big hugs and everything, and how you been? And he was telling me about how he was so happy he got into the DGA and all the stuff he was doing. And I was telling him what I was doing. He was happy for me. But what happened was that was a couple decades later after that audition. But at that audition, when I saw Jeff, and we had the year or two earlier, we had worked on Rambo 2 and Uncommon Valor, and that's how I met him. And he looked at me and he said, just like this, he said, hey, what are you doing here? And I said, oh, I just auditioned for Karate Kid 2 and I got the role. And he was like, oh, okay. And I thought that was kind of strange. Not like, hey, congratulations, welcome aboard, looking forward to working with you, yada, yada, yada. And just nothing. So I left. I called home, said, hey, I'm not going to be home for a while. I'm going to Hawaii. I got the part, yada, yada, yada. 2 hours later, I get a call. And on that call, they said, Harry, we're sorry. We have to cancel you out because the director in Hawaii had found somebody and we didn't know it. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, that's something that doesn't seem right here. And I started thinking, you know what? The way Jeff treated me was very suspicious. So in my mind, I always thought he could have dogged me. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was
you got to trust your instinct with that. You got to trust your
gut. Of course, exactly.
Yeah.
And I did trust my instinct. And so what happened was I was hurt. I got upset. And here I am in my 20s, right? I just got casted for Karate Kid 2.
But you considered him your friend, so that's what hurt even more.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So here I am, casted for Karate Kid 2 as an actor, not as a stunt guy, as an actor. I'm like thinking, man, I'm on my way. So after what happened, I was upset. I got hurt. I was in it. I got depressed, and then I got pissed. I got really, really pissed off. And then I said to myself, I think he had something to do with it, but I don't have any proof right now. So I thought to myself, I said, what can I do in my life to never, ever, ever allow this to happen again?
Did you and I said, well, from that point on, let her be the gatekeeper?
Wait, well, I said to myself, I got to be the boss. So that's when James Hong and I produced our first film called The Vineyard, which was a horror film that became a cult classic all over the world. And by the way, all my investors made money because we had New World Pictures back in the day, who was a mini major, came and screened the film, and we didn't have, all we had was the film was edited, we had the dialogue in there, but we had no sound design, no soundtrack or anything like that. And we told him, and he said, don't worry about it, I'll see past that. And after he watched the film and came out, he goes, wow, he goes, man, I really liked it. It was campy, it was action, martial arts, it had horror in it and everything, He said, what you guys spend on that? About 1.2 million? And James Hong and I looked at each other like, yeah, right around that much, knowing that we spent 280,000. So all our investors made money.
Ah, but that's all the good stuff. And the thing is, with, you needed a path, and as opposed to depending on someone else, you guys just said, you know what, we're going to do this ourselves. We're going to knock down the doors, and we're going to call our own shots, and that's what you guys did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let that Jeff Imada thing bother me because decades later, there a good friend of mine, Kim Lee, God rest his soul. He was like a guru of Pilates. I mean, really, he was the guru of Pilates, the best of the best. And he trained over 150 celebrities, and he did train Jerry Weintraub's secretary who auditioned me. So I meet her through him, and she confirms that Jeff Imada dogged me. But you know what? I have no ill feelings towards that because it's because of him that I am an award-winning writer, director, producer, actor.
That's the key stuff. Sometimes in life, things push you from one road to another, and you're upset about it or whatever. But you see that road brings you to where you're supposed to be, and that's what happened.
Absolutely. So I take that as a blessing. And matter of fact, I know that I will bump into Jeff Imada again one day, and I'm going to give him a big old hug like nothing's ever changed. And I'm basically going to thank him, but I'm going to remind him what he did to me. And I'm going to tell him, hey, please don't feel any ill feelings that I know that you dogged me. I want to thank you, and I really, truly do. Because
maybe you'll give him your autograph at that point. See,
hey, look, I have my movie Animal Crackers is the #1 animated feature in the world in 2020.
Look at that.
And we're still on top.
Look at
The other animated feature that just got released didn't surpass us. And our film is the #1 animated feature in the world. So I'm blessed with that. I have a lot more coming. I'm writing a new script right now with an incredible martial arts story. It's going to be absolutely, absolutely incredible. It's going to
that I have no doubt about. That it's going to be something really special, and I want to talk about that in a second, that new project. But I just want to bring Alan on really quick because he has a thing or two or three to say. Alan, we're back.
Well, I tell you, Sydney, I know a lot about Harry, but when you start mentioning the people that he trained with, those of you who don't know, those are some of the best names out of the West Coast or the world, possibly. So I give him a lot of kudos for that. Yeah, it's that. And Harry is I met Harry actually the first time years ago at the Dragon Fest in California. And I was a newbie. I didn't know anybody. And I met Harry, and we spoke once or twice over the years. But, I met him in Vegas. We hung out, great guys. And I always feel that I was a little bit, the important thing I was able to do is I brought East Coast, West Coast together. Brought big friends together that met each other and to do things that were never done before. And again, that's, that's an important thing, Harry's made some good friends in the East Coast from just coming to me. So, I just want to hand it back to Harry and just, say that, hey, by the way, if you need a nice Jewish guy from Brooklyn to move it.
And there you go. You have. I'm going to bring Harry. I'm going to bring you back on, and now let's talk about what your project and what you're doing. And if you need a nice Jewish guy to be in your film or even as a voiceover, Alan's available. By the way, just figured I'd let you know.
Well, every single one of you guys I have so much respect for. I truly, truly do. And I think one of the best things I could, and I don't know why for the life of me, my life has been my career has been taking me into so many different places. Why it took me so long to get out to Alan's event behooves me. But all you incredible, wonderful people I've met there, and I consider you guys family, my brothers. And I truly do. I truly, truly do. You guys are absolutely incredible. And in regards to this new project that I'm doing, the reason why I decided to come up with this project was because I was just sick and tired of watching all these movies, these series, Britannia, The Last Kingdom, all these Viking type of films, all these Roman, warrior type of films. And I'm watching it, and the heroes that are supposed to be the heroes or the badasses have so many issues with them, and they get caught, they get beat up, they get enslaved, they get, then they escape, and I'm like, no, I need a badass movie. I need a badass movie that would just kick butt. And the vulnerabilities of the individuals are not going to be because they're not physically capable or they're badasses. They're it's going to be because of what maybe happened in their past, and things of that nature. And I want it to take place, could be taking place pre-China, when they had kingdoms, and it's going to be about the 13 warriors that are just absolutely phenomenal. 3 of them are going to be of different cultures. One could be Anglo-Saxons, like a Roman or something, Another one's going to be a female, indigenous female who was a sex slave that was saved by these guys. Another one's going to be a black slave that was saved by them. The 3 were saved by these 10 warriors, okay, and that are predominantly Asian, one Asian female. I might throw in a couple more from other lands, to make the 13. And
So
they're
you're
so
making
badass.
the whole cast of characters diverse. You have diversity involved in this film,
Exactly.
in the script. that you're writing.
Exactly, because I don't want to make it a typical Chinese martial art kung fu film. I want this to be made as an American film, and I would film it, part of it in Guilin in China, where they have the limestone peak mountains
Mhm.
that once was underneath the ocean.
Right.
So and I'm gonna share with you guys, if you guys have a minute, I'll share with you the opening scene if you want to hear how it works.
I'm gonna put the floor right there for you.
Okay, all right. So the opening scene of this film is, imagine a forest, a very ominous forest, starting to get dark, but very ominous. Fog, is starting to roll in. In the distance, there's some thunder going, and imagine 13 warriors, 1 in the front, 6 in each side behind the one in the front, walking through a trail in this ominous forest. And then all of a sudden, something spooks the lead, right? And you see a flock of birds just all of a sudden fly. So all of a sudden you see him, he punches his hand downwards like this behind him, like this, boom. And then everybody just stops dead in their track. And then the lead, you could just see his eyes scanning, right? And then the next thing you know, you see him, his fist is down, you see him go like this. And all of a sudden, the 6 on each side all of a sudden literally disperse and disappear into nowhere. And this one in the front is standing there alone. He has a big round, one of those Chinaman hats on. The center is cut out where his bun is sticking out and his ponytail comes out the back. They got the fur, the band, the big wristbands, the weapon, multiple weapons, All of a sudden, as he starts moving forward, from front of him, he sees a dozen pirates come out, and one person standing in front, like the leader, right? So this one warrior is just standing there, and I was going to use that. I want to play that lead, so I'm going to use my swivel sword, the long sword, right? So what happens is that the pirate, the main pirate, tells them to get him, attack him, to kill him, because they're there to rob him, and these guys are treacherous. They'll kill him. They'll kill him and just take him of whatever, take all his coins or whatever he has, rob him of any type of value. And so the 11 start to draw their weapons. They start to make their approach, and then all of a sudden, this lead character takes out his sword and he starts spinning it, and it's spinning so fast. And then he takes it off the side, and all of a sudden you see him. He slices the sword, and the knife stops. It just stops, and the momentum of that stopping, there's like a dozen coins, Chinese coins attached to that sword, and they shoot out and they nail 11 of those, all 11 of those pirates except for that one, and they all drop to the ground. And then all of a sudden the pirate kind of like has a smirk on his face, like, you think that, like, you think that's scaring me? You think what? What? That's nothing. And all of a sudden you see about 60 other pirates come out of nowhere, and they come up behind this leader, and all of a sudden he just says, "Go!" And they draw their weapons and they go after this one guy. And this one guy, he's just standing there, like, with no fear at all whatsoever. And as they approach, before they are able
Harry,
to,
I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. I got to bring Alan in because he has some input.
Yeah, bring him in.
Just hang on a second. Hang on, Alan. The floor is yours.
We're listening to Harry. We're going to hear the whole movie soon. We're going to. I like he gets carried away with it. But let me ask you something about Harry. Were you able to kind of get this into people's minds, other producers and directors already?
Oh, kidding me? I'm going to produce it. I'm going to produce it, direct it, and be in it. I don't need anybody. I've been an independent filmmaker all my life. We spent $19.5 million on Animal Crackers. That should have been a $80 million movie, and we finished it and became the #1 film in the world. Animated feature in the world. So I will probably end up taking it to Netflix. Once I have it all completely packaged, and and go from there.
Right now, so give you a minute or two just to finish it up.
So anyhow, real quick here, I'll finish up here real quick. Anyway, as the 60 pirates begin to advance to attack this one person, from both sides, the dozen warriors literally appear out of nowhere and literally wipe these guys out within a minute. And the head pirate all of a sudden is like almost in shock, and he looks behind him and he sees all his dead comrades, and all of a sudden,
everyone, I want to apologize for the abrupt ending of the show. We went over the scheduled time, and this is what happens. Okay, but anyway, just make sure you check out the Power Hour and all the shows, and on ucwradio.com/Power Hour. Also check out Harry Mok and all the great guests, David Fury, okay, and Joe Rebelo, and Dennis Warren, and of course Alan Goldberg. We're Alan's putting together such a great product here, and it's going to be enhanced as we go along. Okay, there's going to be a great format for everyone to learn something, and we welcome everyone to come on the show. You're going to see less of me and more of them, and that's the goal. All right. So anyway, thank you guys again, and again, apologize for the abrupt ending of the show.